I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. I have reached 40,000 subscribers. It feels like it could never happen, and here we are, finally, like another big threshold for me. I am so appreciative of all that you guys do, every comment, every subscribe, every like, it means the world to me. So here's a video that is just kind of a little yay, we got there. And I'm trying out a technique that I've never done before that I've been thinking I needed to find a reason for, so I was really glad that this kind of got to be the reason. I made a scratch off nail, which could be used in so many different fun things. You could do different like baby shower reveal nails with this technique. So many just cool little ideas could come out of this technique. Plus, we are going to be playing around with some new Madam Glam products, including their new 3D gel products, which are super cool. So I hope you guys like that, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So to start with, I'm going to embed a magnet right below the cuticle point of this nail. So this is going to be with Madam Glam's Ice Blossom, which is a Acrogel. That one's not new, by the way. That one is an existing product that I just got another excuse to use. So we're going to stick that magnet in a teensy bit of gel and then flash cure it, which, by the way, y'all, is the best way to get a magnet in a nail because it is there so quickly and then you can move on. It's not like sticking it down with nail glue or acrylic where it seems to just not go as snappy. I like things when they go snappy. So after that, I'm going to do a very thin encapsulation over this whole nail with Ice Blossom just to kind of smooth out the transition from the magnet. So the great thing with that magnet is it's right below the height of the apex, which makes it so that you can easily stick it in there and it's not going to create a funky lump. So we're going to just brush that over, cleanse off the tacky layer after it's fully cured, and then with a hand file, I'm going to very gently file this. I'm not going to use my e-file because it's a very thin layer and acrogels in general do file very easily, very quickly, so a hand file does the job very quick. Now with Madam Glam's Perfect Black, I'm going to just paint this nail black and we're going to black out the whole thing. I figured that would be the easiest way to test out my little secret technique. And then I'm going to apply the color Velvet, which is actually their matte no wipe top coat. And now with white gel paint, I'm going to be writing my little secret message. So of course, if you were doing a different secret message, you would write a different secret message here. I do want to say there is something that I would have done differently in the future doing this technique, and I will share that with you in a moment. But to start with, I'm just going to show you what I did, and then I'll go over what I would do differently next time. So we've got the zeros going all the way across in a nice straight little line. Don't forget to add your comma if you're doing a number and it needs a comma. And then I'm going to add my 40,000, yay. And then after that, I'm going to take the colors El Rey, Airy Season, and Lightborn, which are from the new Madam Glam collection. And I'm going to be painting those in to create a little ombre from an aqua color into a limey green into a yellow. One of my biggest tips whenever you want to do an ombre that's in a small space, like across lettering, is to paint your lettering first with white. That way you've got this nice border that you know exactly where to put your different colors. It just simplifies the whole process. Going back to my white gel paint, I'm going to be adding little like accent lines going all over my 40,000, making it look a little bit dimensional, like it is sticking up, like it's sticking out. I want this font in the middle to be fun and kind of silly and goofy. Then I'm going to add 3 white dots and then pulling outward from the center of the dot in 8 directions, 4 with long lines, 4 with short lines. I'm going to create little like sparkle highlight little dots in the background. So I have 1 above and 2 below my 40,000. And then I'm going to, after I have those done, I'm going to just go ahead, make sure I have all my lines finished. I've got everything like it is at this point, how I like it. And then I'm going to add a few little white dots. Then using King of Glam, which is a new top coat, I'm going to be adding a top coat, glossy top coat over the secret message. It doesn't have to be this one, but just add a glossy top coat over your secret message. And now, after you have that done, I'm going to just move my glitters off the 40. I'm going to put a drip of Dawn dish soap. I don't know for sure it has to be Dawn, but dish soap for sure. And then 2 drips of acrylic paint. So you want 1/3 dish soap to 2/3 paint. Mix that up. I'm using black acrylic paint because I've got a black background on my nail. And then I'm going to apply that dish soap paint mix over the glossy part. That's why I have a matte background as well, because the dish soap is going to dry down, or the acrylic paint mix is going to dry down matte. So now here's another little secret I'm going to show you. I'm going to invert an image that says thank you. That part was actually unnecessary. And I'm going to stick it in a writing app on my phone, Pages, if you're an iPhone user. I'm going to blow it up to the size I want it to be. You don't have to invert it. I realized that later. That is an unnecessary and actually not recommended step. But then on the back of your nail form backing, you're going to trace the letters or whatever you're trying to do. So just trace right over it with a Sharpie. You can easily write on the back of a nail form backing. And then after you have that traced, you can flip it over. I'm going to perfect some of my little lines there. in this case, I do need to flip it over and then put it on my nail so that I get the little magnet about where I want it to be in the center of the thank you, just as kind of a here's how that goes. If you don't put it against the nail, your magnet may be the wrong direction. So you may have the wrong pole up, which might make it so that your little thank you banner won't stick. So that's why you have to set it against the nail. It's not to get the magnet in the right spot on the thank you. It's to get the magnet correctly flipped. And then I'm going to pat, same thing, I'm using the Ice Blossom Acrogel. I'm going to pat my Ice Blossom over the top of my writing so that it kind of like bubbles up and over everything, but it's not too terribly large compared to the background. The reason this can be inverted upside down or it can be right way is you can write on either side of this little acrogel piece at the end. You don't have to do it so that when you flip your nail form backing over, it's properly faced. And you'll see me do it the other way later on when I realize that that was not really necessary. But if you want to, it can be inverted so that it's the right way up when you're looking at it now. After that's been cured, go ahead and cleanse that so it's not sticky. And then because I am writing on the area that I did just work on, I am going to file it with my hand file just to get it nice and smooth and straight because it wasn't quite as straight as I would like it to be. So after I've gotten that little piece nice and filed, which, you know, it can be absolutely perfect or it doesn't really have to be, I'm going to apply a layer base coat because there are several little scratchy marks on there. After that base coat has been cured, then I'm going to take the colors I Rule, Angelic Sonata, and Royal Pink, and I'm going to create another one of those beautiful ombres with these colors. They're so, so beautiful. They're such a gorgeous little, not as pastel as some, but just creamy, gorgeous colors. I'm going to ombre them from the pink to the purple to the blue. There's the first coat. Here we're going to go in with the second coat. I'm always impressed when gel polish will very easily ombre with just the bottle brushes because that really tells me that they are highly pigmented and that they will blend together nicely. So if I can do that, I am super happy. After I've got the background done, 2 coats, both cured, I'm going to go in with black gel paint and I'm going to write my thank you. Now you don't still have the image behind this where you can just trace it. If that's something you need, then I wouldn't take it off the nail form backing. I would do it like I did. I would leave it on there and not file it at all. And then I would just not paint the background. The reason that, you know, if that would only be the case if you needed to see the lettering underneath. If you feel like, yes, this is okay. Once I have the general shape, I can eyeball it. I have my image right next to me that does show how the lettering looks, where it's placed, and then you've got the guidelines of the bubble that you're writing this in. If that's okay, I would do it the way I did it, and I would take it off the nail form backing, and I would paint the background if you want to, of course, and I wouldn't leave it on there. But if you do feel like having that traced lettering would make a big difference to you, leave it on there and then do your letters. So I've got the U, and then I'm going to go through with the thank. If you have never done this kind of spacing, I'm going to give you some little tips on how to get it to be exactly where you want it. Start in the middle of your letters, usually. I didn't with the U, but I had a really clear spot for where the U goes because of the drop down on the Y. And then work your way out usually. So start in the middle, work your way out. And in the case where you have stacked print, like the thank is above the U, look to see where the letters are in comparison. So is the N in between the O and the U on your image? Is the A right above the O? Where does the K sit? Is the line of the K kind of go up, extended from the fat line of the U? Use all of those little information that you can gather, all that information you can gather to help you place those letters. And it makes a big difference once you start looking at that and you start drawing lines and seeing references where you might not have immediately. All of a sudden it'll all make sense. So now I'm going to use the colors Ultra Pink Gel Paint, Purple Gel Paint, and Blue Gel Paint. And currently the neon gel paints are out of stock on Madam Glam's website. I was snooping on their website. No, well, not snooping, but I was looking because I was curious if they were, and unfortunately they are, which is sad because they're amazing, but the purple and the blue are good. Just the Ultra Pink is not available at the moment. I'm going to fill in the little thick parts of my letters, kind of emphasize them again. Again, everything with this, I want it to be fun and girly and over the top. Now, this is the Frosting 3D Art Gel. This is the one I'm going to be using, the Mirage 3D Art Gel. I'm not going to use in this video. I'm trying to think of like my best possible showcase for it to show you guys the first time. I'll come up with it, but they're both so cool. But I'm going to take the Frosting one, which is the slightly thinner viscosity, and I will show you the Mirage in a moment. And I'm going to bubble my letters. So I'm going to paint a layer of this frosting over the top of each of my letters, the thick parts and the thin parts of the letters. And I'm going to get this really beautiful raised texture, and you'll see them in just a moment. I also feel like this would do really well being used as a jewelry gel, which if you have watched my videos, you know I use jewelry gel for all sorts of beautiful things. It is one of the best products, and I tell people all the time, like, if you don't have jewelry gel and you use gel at all, get yourself some jewelry gel because it is the thing. I feel like this frosting would also work really well for that. Plus, it doesn't require a top coat. So if you want to use something and you want to stick down some little bits and you don't want to top coat them afterwards, this might just be the ticket. So I've got my frosting over the top of the letters of Think. I love that it's called frosting too. I think that's just like the best because I am a baker as well on the side, so it kind of just goes right in with my whole life there. So now I'm going to flip over. I doodled the word subscriber and subs a bunch of times on the back of Nailform backing. This was just my own handwriting in a bunch of different styles. And I chose the one I liked. I felt like subscribers, even though I preferred that over subs, was just too long. So I'm going to go with subs and a very simple basic print. And as you can see, I wrote it in the correct way, straight on the back. So then when I flipped it over, my writing is now backwards. That's okay. It actually is going to make things a little easier down the road. After I've got that covered with my Acrogel and embedded my little stick, my piece of wire inside it, I'm going to cure it, flip it over, cleanse it, and add my ombre just like I did for the bigger piece on this one. Then using black gel paint, I'm going to write subs. Now this time I'm following my own handwriting, so it's a little easier. It's a little bit more straightforward to follow your own handwriting than to follow somebody else's. So I'm going to just rewrite this, hopefully within the space I gave myself. Get my S in there. After all of this has been written, then you can go ahead and cure that and then go through with the Ultra Pink, Purple Gel Paint, Blue Gel Paint, and add the little highlights in these letters just like before. This time I am going to do a little more blending. Up above, I pretty much, on the U, I just did pink in one, purple in one letter, and blue in one letter. We do have a little more space here, so I'm going to slightly blend them from the U to the B, just to give it a little bit more. It's 4 letters instead of 3, but we do have to do that because we only have 3 colors. Now using the frosting, again, I'm going to bubble these letters. So much fun. And they are such a beautiful, smooth texture to like run your finger over. It doesn't have any sharp spots at all. It just feels nice and bumpy. It'll be really fun to do like a textured snake print with that. Using frosting still, I'm testing it out. I'm going to attach a little bead underneath my nail to hold my wire. I'm going to put some frosting down, lay the bead down, flash cure it, then add more frosting up and over the bead to really secure that in place. That also super easy, way faster than trying to do it with acrylic and glue. Now I'm going to bend my wire into a sharp cornered U shape, and I'm going to slide it into the bead that is under the nail to see how long I need to cut off my wire. Once I find kind of this length that I need my wire to be, trim off the extra, slide it back underneath there, and then take more of your frosting, and I'm going to add just a dab of it on the end of my piece of wire so that it can't come back through the bead, so it's locked in there, so it's not going anywhere. And if you're wondering what the big white glob is, that is poster putty that holds it in place on my nail or on my little practice stick. Now for my tip for how to do this better. I found that because you could still feel the texture of my painting, the 40,000 and the stars and the glitters, that some of my scratch off paint stuck a little bit. So after you do your painting, I would encapsulate this with a thin layer of builder gel, clear builder gel, and then I'd apply the matte top coat and then glossy top coat over the scratch off area. I feel like that would smooth everything out so that when you went to scratch it off, it came off way easier than mine did. However, it did still come off and it is still super duper fun. So there's my scratch off 40,000, my thank you subs. I'm so happy. It's been a long time since I've had a big, number switch like this. So it is very exciting. And I just want to say thank you again. And I will see you all next time. Bye.